All right, buddy. Peace. Welcome to the Sorry to Bother You show. Wherever have you're listening, we're so great to have you with us. As you guys know, I'm Sean Cottle, and I'm joined here as usual by the amazing, the wonderful Mr. Stupendous himself, Dre Pennington.
What up, man? How we doing, y'all? How we doing? Sean, how are you doing, man? It's been a while.
It's been far too long, baby. Listen, we are 7 games into the season right now. We just had our first cup game this past Sunday. Everything's blessed, man. I am starting to find my groove in the season. Starting to find my role within the offense, and I think we're really starting to peak at the right time, man. So everything's good over here, aside from the snow we just got on Sunday, but dude, everything's perfect over here, man.
Oh, we're living good. That's how I like to hear.
What about you, Avery? How you feeling physically, mentally, spiritually? How you feeling?
Um, although I'm always gonna say physically about a 7, 8, got a little groin injury, so I haven't really been hooping, been walking a lot, but not too much. Mentally, say about a 8 or 9. These people at work be trying me, but that's okay. Everybody's good. I'm good. And then spiritually, always a 10.
Mhm.
I'm always good.
Yeah.
Your boy got me, so we're good.
You know, Dre, we're gonna have to do a show one time about life after basketball because I'm sure you can give a lot
Oh
of.
God, yeah,
You
it's
know,
weird. It's very weird.
it's the old saying, they say athletes die twice. They die first in their playing career and then second time when they leave the physical. But I'm sure we can you can give a lot of insight on that. Because there's more to it, right? There's more to it than just your playing
It's
career.
there's way more to it, honestly.
Yeah. But
It's like it's the more like you think about it, you've been kind of really like your whole life you've just been playing and playing and playing, and then all of a sudden it's like, all right, you're done. You got to find something else to do. You're just like, oh, all right,
yeah.
and you got to find yourself again. So yeah, it's a lot to it. We could definitely do something about that.
But speaking of finding and having something outside of your playing career, uh our guest
Mm.
today kind of embodies that entire concept of having a separate entity and passion outside of basketball. Guys, this our guest is someone who I stumbled upon on Instagram, and I saw her story, and I saw that she was playing in England just like me and you, Dre, were playing overseas, and I just knew we had to have her on the show, man, because her faith and her commitment to the game and just the way she presented herself as extremely professional. I was like, okay, we got to have her on the show. So, guys, I would like to introduce you guys to Miss Grace Beyer. Everybody,
Thank you guys so much for having me.
of
I'm
course,
excited.
of course, Grace. Something that Dre and I like to do before we start our conversation, we like to ask our guests, or we like to do a check-in with our guests. We like to ask how you're feeling physically, mentally, emotionally, and spiritually, just to see where you're at.
I would say I'm pretty good overall physically. I find myself walking a lot here because I don't have a car, so I use a lot of transit. But just yesterday, with being with my major too, which is journalism, I was reporting on a story. So we had morning practice, and then I think I walked like 15,000 steps in a day. So my feet have just been a little bit tired, I would say, but overall I'm pretty good. Just trying to take care of my body as best I can. Um, what was the next one? Mentally.
Mhm.
Mentally I'm good as well. I same thing, just do the things that I know I need to do to take care of myself. Sometimes that means like taking a step back from my work or my sport or whatever. Sometimes it means getting a good workout in or having a good practice. So, um emotionally, I would say kind of goes along with mentally pretty good. Just doing the things I need to do, like journaling, prayer, things of that nature. And that kind of also goes into my spiritual health, which I think is good as well. I see God in so many different ways being here and I just feel grateful. So, yeah, thanks for checking in.
Of course, absolutely. Love to hear it. And Grace, you just brought up a little bit, you talked about how you are in school right now and you are in England currently. So why don't you talk to us about how you got exactly to where you're at right now getting your master's degree in England while also playing basketball at the same time?
Where do you want me to start?
Let's start with how exactly you got into England.
So I think it's like a application process that you submit to play overseas.
Mhm.
They're like an agency, they're a company that helps players, I think from a lot of different countries, but and they have a partner country or a partner company as well that works with non-American students, I think, but for the most part, they help Americans get opportunities to play in the UK. And so I applied to that in like the fall of my senior year. And I didn't have the easiest senior year. Kind of forgot that I even applied. You know, you put all your information in, your highlights, your major, all this types of stuff, and I kind of forgot about it. And then kind of on a day that I was down in the season, I got this email that um, a school in the UK was interested, and I found out that they had so many different options for really good journalism programs as well for masters. And so I looked into it, and kind of the rest is history. I think Play Overseas helped me to figure out how to go about the process. Of course, there was still some figuring out to do on my own, but yeah, just kind of went through the process, and now I'm here.
Now you're here. Okay, so you talked about you submitted an application your senior year of college. Where did you go to school for your undergrad?
I went to Roosevelt University in Chicago for my last 2 years. I went
Oh,
to Valdosta State in Georgia for my first 2 years.
okay, okay. So talk to us a little bit about your collegiate experience, both of your schools.
So I wouldn't say I mean, I guess nobody has like a normal experience, but when I first went into my freshman year of college, I was coming off my second ACL tear. So it kind of was, and it was COVID. So it was kind of an unconventional recruiting process.
Mhm.
But I actually went to Valdosta State as like a preferred walk-on. And my freshman and sophomore year, I would say my freshman year, like I love all the people I met, in my college journey, but um, my freshman year we went to the Elite Eight, so it was just a really cool experience. Only freshmen on the team, and we had about 10 girls healthy for most of the year. So I think I developed really quickly with that opportunity just to like learn at such a fast pace and have getting my body back into shape. And then my sophomore year, I think I was a lot more in shape, having been a year and a half removed from being cleared from that second ACL tear. But I still had a great experience, but I found that I kind of outgrew it and kind of just wanted a different opportunity. So I went in the transfer portal and was recruited and earned a scholarship to play at Roosevelt University in Chicago. And my junior year, it was kind of really a beautiful experience because it was 12 of us that came in new. I think it was about six transfers and six freshmen or something along those lines.
Wow.
And maybe it wasn't six freshmen. Maybe it was five. I don't really remember, but or four. I don't know. Don't quote me on that. But it was a lot of us coming in new at the same time. There was only two girls that stayed from the year before, because a coach been new the year before and kind of just wanted to rebuild the program. But I think with people coming from such different backgrounds, there was international players, there was girls from Florida, there was girls from Texas, there was girls from all over the country, but we got along so well, I think, because everyone was so different and kind of, I don't know, the dynamic just worked. And those are some of my lifelong friends. So I think, although, I think we still should have gone further in the season, I
Mhm.
was not like, I was happy with kind of how the season ended. I think our last game was probably one of my best collegiate memories, even though we lost, just because I feel like we played so hard the whole game. Um, and yeah, my senior year was probably my hardest year of college basketball just because but like I don't like to talk bad about any experience or people, but I just felt really frustrated with some of the stuff that happened my senior year. And, you know, good things still came from that in terms of like my relationships with my teammates and things that I grew from. But
Yeah.
I think that also made me more grateful to be able to have the opportunity to play here after just feeling so frustrated my senior year. So,
Mhm.
yeah, that's kind of my college experience. I am super grateful for like all the people I met and the experiences I had, even if it wasn't maybe how I would have written it. But yeah.
So, based on what you just said, Grace, you've had quite the journey throughout your undergrad career. But you said something pretty interesting, Grace. You talked about towards the end, you talked about some of the frustrations that you felt your senior year. Um, did you ever have, I won't call it doubts, but did you ever think to yourself, okay, this is my last year playing basketball. Maybe this is it for me? Or did you always know you wanted to play after?
Yes, I did have doubts and I did have fears and I did feel like a lot of anxiety, I would say, because there was a certain point in this season where I was like, okay, I wanna continue playing. There was a time in the season when I was considering taking a red shirt for and I haven't really talked on this at all because it's so recent, but, like, taking a red shirt for my mental health just so that, you know,
Wow.
I can reset and have year to play. But I ended up not doing that because the play overseas opportunity came through, like, just at the time, but I was considering really doing it. So I think what really helped me was around January, February time I just made the commitment to myself and to God and just to like my support system, just saying, you know what, I'm gonna do everything in my control, which is it isn't like I wasn't doing that before, but I just made the commitment. I'm gonna do everything in my control so that I have zero regrets. And even if, you know, the games don't go or as I want them to, or my coach doesn't do what I think is right, I don't have any regret about it. So I think I just committed myself to showing up every single day, getting my extra shots in, watching extra film, asking my coach, what can I do anything else to help, making my own scouts, whatever I needed to do just to have that, okay, I have no regret. I put my all into this and I trust how this process and this journey is gonna
Mhm.
end up at the end of the day. And if that were to have led me to maybe stop playing. I was like looking for all these different ways to keep playing, but I just didn't want to go out the way that my senior year ended. So, yes, I did have the doubt, but I also knew that at the end of the day, I was going to be taken care of and I was going to be okay just because I did make that commitment.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean that's beautiful to hear because to me when you say that, it sounds like you had a lot of faith in God in those moments, and like you say, you focus on the things that you can control and you allow Him to take care of everything else. And I think that alone, Grace, is very inspiring to a lot of people because I'm quite certain, and Dre knows this too, that there are a million or thousands of seniors right now playing basketball in their last year, and are probably experiencing the same thing you did, Grace, where they have doubts and uncertainties, and they don't know if they want to keep doing this. So I'm glad that you brought that up because it can remind everyone else that, like you said, focus on things you can control and allow God to take care of everything else. And when you have a right positive approach to everything, things always work out the way they're meant to. It might not be exactly how you envisioned it, but it always happens the way it's meant to. And you said something pretty interesting, Grace. You said your second ACL surgery. So you've had two ACL surgeries, correct?
Yeah, I have. I've had both of mine done, both knees done.
Both knees. Can you talk to us a little bit about that?
Sure. So I tore my ACL meniscus in eighth grade, my right one.
Mhm.
And I actually think, well, I'll just go through my overall journey to start. But I tore my first ACL meniscus when I was in eighth grade, and I tore my left ACL, just ACL, when I was a senior in high school. And then I actually had a third knee surgery in 2022 as well, just to go back into my right knee and clean up parts of my meniscus. They said it was shredded or something.
Wow.
So that knee still gets kind of irritated sometimes just because it is lacking cartilage, like it's had cartilage stitched up and cut out and all this. But yeah, I think that that part of my journey, and I do talk about it sometimes, but I still want to branch into like that area more because I know there are so many girls that do deal with that injury, girls and boys, but specifically, I know it's very common for female athletes. But yeah, that those were, I would say, my main injuries that I went through. Like I had other things too, ankles. I had like a bone fracture in like my pelvis when I was in seventh grade. I don't know. But the main thing I think is when I did my first ACL, it's when I really learned to shoot the ball because me and my dad would go out and I couldn't jump. At first, I couldn't even stand. And we would just do form shots and back up and just over and over and over, repetition, repetition, repetition. And I think that built the foundation of me being able to shoot the ball as well as I've worked on it. And
Yeah.
I also think, I had all these chair dribbling workouts and things of that nature. I think I kind of had the same mindset that I just talked about that I had in my senior year of I'm going to control what I can control. I think both ACL tears and all the surgeries I've had have also taught me how to care my body because I've built up so much knowledge for how or why things get irritated or how your body works. So that too. But yeah, that was kind of my journey with my knees and everything. That's where I wear my knee sleeve now. It's like I tell people I'm like it's not a choice. I don't have a choice to wear it or not. Now it's just I have to wear it. So getting old.
Yeah. I was say, so would you say that that essentially forced an evolve, like it forced you to evolve your game and it forced you to kind of evolve everything around you, like how you eat, how you sleep, like because essentially it sounds like you were forced to become more of a pro early on, earlier than expected for most people.
Yeah, I think I had to become very intentional with everything that I did because I'm not the most athletic person that you'll meet. Like never been like a fast twitch type athlete or was the fastest or jumped the highest. So I think then on top of that, having those knee surgeries didn't necessarily help my either. So I anything I could do to help my body or to help my mind I did, and I think you're right. It kind of helped me build these habits that I'm very intentional about now that'll probably carry me after I'm an athlete as well. So, yeah, I would definitely agree with that.
Mm. Mm. Yeah, I just because I mean, fortunately, I've never experienced a serious injury, but I can't imagine, Grace, the mental, I guess, fortitude or toughness that it takes to bounce back from not just one ACL injury, but two ACL injuries. And you talked about the skill set you were forced to develop, but something I'm also interested in is did it change how you perhaps maybe watch film those injuries? Did they cause you to change how you perhaps watch film? Um, like cause you to see different things on the court or anything like that?
I think, yes, to a certain extent. I still think the majority of learning to play basketball and seeing the game has come from playing or watching it with a team. But I do think I was also intentional about I had like a list of players I would watch on YouTube, or sometimes I would watch film with my trainer or something like that, and he would kind of point out things to me. So I do think that it did help me to see the game from a different angle. And I also think, especially when I was a senior in high school, having to sit on the side and watch
Mhm.
made me appreciate the game so much more when I did come back because it was just like I remember my first game I had to sit and watch my senior year. Afterward I just went to the courts and I was just crying, just shooting and just it just sucks. But yeah, for sure. I think that it has helped me to kind of see the game from an outsider's perspective as well.
Yeah, yeah.
Say I just saying I've had a similar experience. I had two ACL surgeries in my senior year of high school, so I under completely understand how. I wanted to ask as well, like, did it kind of deter you in any way at all, like from ever really just even picking up a ball? Were you ever just kind of like, this might have just been my last game I really wanted to play, just because like how physically tolling basketball can be throughout a whole season on the body is.
Honestly, no. I think I always knew I'm gonna come back from this. There was one day that I think there were people around me saying, "Oh, Grace, you should do this. Like, you should go." I had gone into some schools for academics that were good schools, and they were like, "Oh, you should do that," like, and I don't think it came from a bad place, but there was a point where I had other offers that I hadn't accepted, and those kind of fell through because I didn't keep up communication or anything like that, and that stuff had fallen through, and then I didn't have that much recent film that I felt truly conveyed how I played because I gotten cleared, and I think there was a point where I was like, "Well, I literally have no other option. I guess this is what I'm doing." But I still think deep down, and I think this is the importance of having a good support system. I went to a workout, and my trainer, who I've had since I was in ninth grade, um, was like, "Grace, what about this? What about this coach that emailed you?" I would fly to here to watch you play, and I'm like, "Oh, you're right. Like there are still options out there." And I think that's when I still like I think all throughout the whole thing, I kind of knew deep down like this is what I want to keep doing this. I'm not going out on this note. Doesn't mean that didn't think it would be a hard comeback, but yeah, I don't think that I always knew that I didn't want to just go to college and go to school.
Yeah. Grace, you just touched on it. You talked about your support system. Uh, Talk to us a little bit about the importance of having support systems, not just in basketball, but in life in general. And also for you personally, who are some of those people that you would consider to be a part of your support system?
I think support system is one of the most important parts, not only of being an athlete, but just of life. I think that it kind of gives purpose to your life. It those people are there for you to enjoy life with you, but also to pick you up when you're down. And it also gives me joy to be able to support my friends and my family members and to encourage them and to speak life into them. So I just think it's one of the best things that like one of the biggest blessings in life is to have that support system. Me and my dad, there's this book called I don't actually know it's called Balcony People. I think it is. I did a podcast on it early in my podcast journey, but we call them your balcony people, like people that are if you imagine like a balcony, they're like cheering for you from the
Mhm.
top of the balcony, but they're also there to kind of help you or to give you they're not the people that if you get like a C on your test and you didn't study, they're gonna be like, "Oh, it's okay, good job." Like they'll tell you, "No, Grace, go study, go do this, go do this." But just having that unconditional support of people you know that have your best interest in mind and you trust them and you can confide in them, you can be vulnerable with them, you can tell them about the things you've done good and they don't take it as something that like a competition type thing. I think it's so, so important. I don't think I would be here. I don't think I would have half the things that I've been able to do or obtain without those people. I think to start, for me, my parents, both in different ways, but they've always been some of the biggest supporters for me. And I love them so much, and I would say, like, my extended family as well, my aunt, for example, on my dad's side, like, she would come to my games. She lives in New York, but she would come to Georgia, she would come to Memphis, she would come to Birmingham, she would come to Chicago, and just having that type of support that's unconditional and, like, not only on the phone, but being able to take action. She would pray with me, she would help me when I was dealing with frustrations and things of that nature. Also, so many of my friends, I have like the most wonderful friends. And my trainer that I mentioned, his name is John Williams. I've been training with him since I was in ninth grade. So I think 8, 9 years now. But also, he's been such a huge mentor for me, just being able to talk through, oh, this happened at practice. What should I do? Or, oh, even as simple as, oh, I'm going to get shots up. What do you think I should work on? But also just the mental side of basketball just really helped me through that. So I have a really amazing support system. Also, so many people on the internet that I've met just from being able to connect in that way. And honestly, since I've been consistent with my content, it's really allowed me to connect with like-minded people. So yeah, that was a long-winded answer, but
No, it was very insightful. I think that a lot of, and Dre, we Me and Dre talk about this all the time. Um, a lot of athletes struggle because either they have the wrong type of people in their support system or they don't have a support system at all. And so, like you said, with the your balcony people, for some people there is no balcony. They just have no one to keep them accountable and they just kind of do whatever they think feels right and they end up making bad decisions. So I'm glad you elaborated on that because now it shows people that the importance of having support system, not just for support, but also for accountability and constructive criticism, like you said. Uh, and you alluded to it a little bit, Grace. You talked about your content and, starting the episodes early on in your podcasting career. Um, why don't you talk to us a little bit about your, I'll call it your professional career outside of basketball for those who don't know about it.
So currently, I'm getting my master's in broadcast journalism, and I got my undergraduate degree in journalism and media studies too. I've learned that it's one of my callings and my passions, and it sometimes has nothing. I think a lot of people see that, oh, Grace, yeah, you're going to be a sports reporter, you're going to be a sports journalist, but I actually just love the art of journalism in general. Like, I love to just be able to talk to people and tell their stories and humanize people, shine light on certain issues, and maybe, you know, make a positive change, I think, at the end of the day by being able to show the true things that are happening around us. So, but my podcast, which kind of led me to this love for journalism, I started it back in 2022 when I was a sophomore in college. So I was at Valdosta and I saw this tweet by Kirby Porter. She now works for Unrivaled. And I ended up having her on my podcast early on as well. But she had a tweet that said, athletes, if you don't have time to have a job or an internship or something like that, start a YouTube, start a podcast, start this. And always I think since eighth grade, when I went through that first ACL tear, I always knew I was going to have a podcast one day, but I saw it as, oh, like after I'm done with basketball, like when I'm in my career. But then when I saw that tweet, I'm like, wait, why not now? Because I can build up while I'm in college and maybe monetize it or make it a job or make it a side hustle later on, but why not? And I think it was I had maybe asked one or two people in my close circle who were like, "Yeah, do it." And then I just kind of did it. And I think it's been one of the most amazing opportunities to just first of all, connect with people, learn how to articulate myself and convey certain ideas or tell certain messages, bring value to people, and also just networking with people. I've met so many, I mean, this is I'm sure you know from doing your podcast as well, but just being able to meet people. And then it's really cool as well when you get to meet them in person after having them on your podcast. I've had a few of those experiences too. So yeah, I am not in the current season of podcasting just because I do have a lot of commitments right now. I've been posting content consistently, like short form type content, showing my life here in England and my experiences as a basketball player, journalist, just daily life types of things. And then also just really trying to take care of my commitments for school and for my team. So I do love podcasting and want to get back to it soon, but it's not my current focus, if that makes sense. But
Yes.
I
And
think I have like 60 something episodes.
wow. Wow. Okay. So you have 60 plus episodes on your podcast so far. And when I ask this question, I'm not talking just about podcasting, but just about content creation in general, Grace, because like you said, that's something that quite frankly you're really good at. If people look at your podcast page or for Instagram, but then also your personal page is very concise, very consistent. Um, so what are some of the things that you do when it comes to your content creation that maybe other people could do also to help them be as proficient and successful as you are?
I think, do you mean in the terms of the technical skills to create or like the
Both, Yeah, both technical
creativity.
as well as creativity.
So I think the creativity, and I actually think it takes so much courage to create content to put your because I think it's putting yourself out there in a way that you're susceptible to people having their opinions about you when you show more of your life. And I actually hesitated. I used to just post on my podcast account because I thought I had to kind of keep that separate. But at the end of the day, that's part of me too. So I started posting, I think after I went to Athlete Con, which is like a convention for athlete content creators. And side note, now I'm actually like interning for that for next year. So I'm super excited about that. But I
Congratulations.
met so many people. Thanks. I met so many people in that conference that were like, or convention, whatever you want to call it, that were like, yeah, Grace, just post the content, put yourself out there. And I think having people like that I see are successful with tens of hundreds of thousands of followers saying, Grace, post your content. I'm like, oh, okay, I can do this. And I think slowly just telling myself, building up the courage. And I think even when there are certain things that might be more vulnerable, asking someone like, "Is it okay if I say this?" And they're like, "Yeah, like what if it helps someone else?" Or what if and I think breaking the stigma about certain things as well. Like over the summer in one of my vlogs, I hesitated to put like that I went to therapy during the day or something, but I think saying that just helped like show this is how I take care of my mental health right now, like as an athlete or as a high achiever, whatever you want to call it, somebody that's like a go-getter. But technically, I think my major has really helped in terms of I know the foundations of video production on Adobe and all of these things. So CapCut becomes all of a sudden very simple, but you can learn. I love CapCut. I have like the premium. It was a worthy investment for me,
Yeah.
but I am all you can learn whatever on TikTok, on Instagram of technically how to, make fonts that you always use or a certain style or certain effects or whatever, or even just it doesn't even always have to be complicated. Like I know a lot of creators just create right on TikTok and put their captions on there and put the closed captions, whatever, add some trending sound or something like that. So just having, I think the number one tip is just having the courage to start and to having the courage to put yourself out there and just figuring it out along the way. I'm still figuring out because sometimes I feel like it's a lot to always be on social media. So I get kind of like I need to take a step back. But I made a video yesterday on my TikTok called Be Proactive so you don't become inactive.
Okay.
Because I think having like the preparation and having maybe videos in the backlog or things that you can always post
Mhm.
is in a content creator perspective keeps you from being inactive because you can just post that instead of having to, expend all the mental or creative energy on a day that you might be more tired. So I think a lot goes into it, having the right people around you, being, like I said, having the courage to start, and then just being open-minded to learn. I think those are the three top things I'd say.
I like what you just said right there, being open to learn. So having a growth mindset, pretty much. Yeah. Yeah. Okay. So, Grace, so
Yeah, for sure.
what has been the most surprising thing that you've learned about yourself throughout your content creation journey?
I think I've learned that I think it's given me more of a confidence of what I can do because I think when I was younger, I was a lot more introverted, a lot more shy. But I think content creation has allowed me to, have the courage to even to if you reach out to someone and they say no or they don't respond, knowing that I'm able to talk or connect with people from anywhere, I think that's been something that I've really learned. And especially now living in a different country, just that I'm that I have this opportunity to learn from so many different people and connect with so many different people and that I don't really know how to put it into words really, but just I almost I don't want it to come off a weird way, but like
No.
I feel like I can talk to anybody at one in my life.
Yeah.
And that's something that I've really learned through content creation.
Yeah. That ability to connect with people and make people feel safe and make them feel welcomed and like they can express themselves to you. I think that's the gift, though. I think not a lot of people have that ability to bring that energy out of people. So you feel like you have that gift, Grace, which you do, then own it and accept that for sure. But I did do a little diving, a little research, Grace, and your brother also has a has a content creation page too, right?
Yeah, he does.
Okay, so
He does.
can you talk to us about maybe some of the similarities that you and your brother might have when it comes to content creation, and do you guys bounce ideas off each other, or talk to us a little bit about that?
Yeah, I'm pulling him up on my phone right now. So yeah, that's my little brother Grant. Um, I don't know if you can see, can't really,
A little bit.
but I'm so proud of him. He's 2 years younger than me, and he basically started his journey on a whim, making videos during COVID with his friends to kind of bring people together in a time that there was a lot of physically and literally or and metaphorically a lot of distance between people. And I think there are similarities because we are raised in the same household in that he and I both have values that ground us, and that is love, and that's our faith, and just wanting to connect with people and talk to people. I think Grant is like we're completely different people at the same time. Um, but yeah, I love him, so proud of him. And I think I do pull a lot of inspiration from him, just how consistent he's been and just he's been through stuff outside of his content creation journey that he's been resilient through and still, kind of believing in himself and stuff like that. I was trying to think of a good idea of how to collab our content over the summer. I actually had him on my podcast about a year ago. Um, but maybe would have to run that back because now he's a lot further along in his journey than he was a year ago. So, yeah, that's my brother Grant. You guys should give him a follow. But
Yeah.
um his content's a bit different because it's like it's always the same thing. Like it's the same thing with different people in it. So going around and hugging random people, but he'll change the location and obviously the people will change. Or sometimes he's recently started this series where he goes and blesses people
Yes.
with like their groceries or whatever. So, yeah, same values but different. Like I think my content isn't I don't have like the same thing I do over and over. It's kind of like changes every time. So,
So, do you think with you kind of starting your journey with content, do you think that kind of gave him the inspiration to do so as well, or do you think he's always just had that in him?
he's always had it in him to be I don't want to say to be famous, but kind of like he always because I don't think that he does it for the fame, but like he was always in theater as a kid and he was always like putting on like shows and productions for our family. So I think he always was destined to and I don't know what he'll do next. Like I know he's talked to me about maybe wanting to be an actor or something like that, but I think he's always had it in him to kind of connect with people and entertain people in a way. Um, just, from a theater standpoint or a content creation standpoint. Um, I think that he's probably inspired me more. I think just like I said, seeing what he does. I'm sure that we get inspiration off each other. I think he's seen, probably my resilience as well with being, he's seen firsthand like how I was when I got the news that I tore my ACL for the second time. And then I still was able to continue my basketball journey in college. And then, I think that in a way, I think it's more so my journey than my content creation that's probably inspired him. But yeah, I think that he's probably inspired me more, to be honest. And I have a little sister too, so maybe she'll get into content someday too, but
So it's the family thing, all in the family, huh? But Grace,
yeah, yeah.
but you talked about inspiration, Grace. Are there any content creators or reporters or journalists that you draw inspiration from for your content?
Oh, for sure. So I went to I don't want to leave anyone off the list, but I got to shadow a couple reporters this summer, Autumn Johnson and Megan McEwen. They report for Ion WNBA, and they also do a lot of college basketball reporting, which they're in now. But they're just some of the most warm, open-minded, or not open-minded, but like welcoming almost. Like they are so good at what they do. So I think from a reporting standpoint, I look to them and so many of the people that I met. Autumn Johnson had a like women in TV conference, and I met all of these really amazing reporters that I got to talk to. So just kind of seeing women above me doing things that I want to do, and like I said, just having that courage to put themselves out there. Those are the people that inspire me within the field of journalism. And some of the professors that I've had as well, like back at Roosevelt, just that taught me how to put together a story and talk to people and having the courage to make the phone calls or go to places and just ask to talk to people. Those people inspire me as well. Um, Content creation. I think I just have a lot of really amazing content creator friends now that I've met. Like even just now in London, I went and visited my friend Chanel, and she's a London-based content creator that makes a lot of content about her basketball journey as well. And there's a girl named Kira Hungerford. Kira's it used to be now it's like dietitian Kira. It used to be Kira's Good Eats, her page, but I had her on my podcast as well. She's like a former college athlete turned dietitian. So and I don't want to leave anyone out, but just so many content creator people that I've met. Sam Green, who runs AthleteCon for sure, and a lot of the athletes that I've met in that realm. I have a friend named Joe Pringle who does track, or yeah, she throws at Miami. Love her. Like I've known her since I was in middle school. So she also is a creator. So I just think seeing other people do what they are called to do kind of inspires me to do the same thing.
Nice. And it seems like you guys all sort of feed off of each other's energy and positive outlook. And so that kind of propels all of you guys at the same time, is what it seems like.
For sure. And I've noticed that especially in England, I think maybe because the country is so much smaller, but now that I'm kind of in the loop about these mostly London-based basketball content creators or just content creators in general, everyone seems to know each other and and everyone reposts each other's stuff and puts it on their story and comments and goes to the events, and it's just been really beautiful. It's similar in the States, but not really because everything's so much more spread out.
Well, that was going to be my next question, Grace. Since you've been in London and you've, like you said, you've kind of like gotten into the loop somewhat, is there a difference between how content is published and created in the UK compared to how it is in the United States?
It's hard to tell, but honestly, I don't think so. I just think it feels like a tighter community here than it is in the States, just because the States is so much bigger.
Mm,
So maybe there is style differences as well, but it really depends what niche of content you're in.
okay,
I
okay.
probably could.
Okay, okay. So since you've been in your master's program so far, you've obviously gotten professional training, not just in your master's program, but also in your undergrad. One question, especially as a fellow journalist, I want to ask is, do you feel like there is still a clear line and distinction between a reporter slash journalist and content creator, or has that line been now blurred and now there's more perhaps cohesiveness between the two groups? Are they still separate? What do you think?
I would say, I don't know, it wasn't really a yes or no answer, but I think kind of yes to both. I think that there is a clear line, and I think it also is merging. Like I think to be a journalist, you kind of have to detach your own opinions when you report on something. So, in being in that role, you kind of have to take a more neutral standpoint versus with content creation. A lot of times it's you sharing your experiences or being excited about something or using certain words that kind of have like a connotation that's either positive or negative or whatever, which you're not really supposed to do as much as a journalist. But even when I'm in a social media analytics class right now, and we're supposed to make a TikTok explainer video about something, and it's kind of there's all these examples of these journalists that are creators. And I think people are starting to get their news and to get their information. Well, not starting to, they already have on TikTok, on Instagram, on Twitter or X. And so I think there is probably more of a blending than there is a clear line, but I still think the most seasoned journalists are able to draw the line between their personal life and their profession in certain instances.
Yeah. Okay, I have another question, Grace, and I talked with a couple of people from my cohort about this, and this question has always seemed to be a bit divisive. But do you think now in today's society with social media and I won't call it clickbait, but more so just quick fix information, is it possible for a respected journalist to be respected in the field of journalism, but not have a large following on social media?
Yeah, for
Yeah.
sure. Because I, even just talking about one of my professors from Roosevelt, and I mean, he wasn't as much in the social media era, but he's still tapped in. People don't know him on social media, but he's one of the most probably respected journalists that I've ever met. So I think yes, 100%. Almost sometimes, well, I don't know because a lot of the really popular journalists now do have big followings, but more so I would say of maybe the younger generations. I think as we go on in time, it'll be more common for them to have bigger followings. But I think you don't do your job as a journalist to have a following. You
Mm,
do it, you know what I mean? You do it to tell other people's stories. You don't do it to highlight yourself. And I think content creation sometimes you almost have to highlight yourself in order to, get people to trust you and get people to want to tap into your content or to draw inspiration or whatever you're trying to do. So I think that's kind of my answer that no, you don't have to have a big following. Sometimes you don't have a following at all if you're a great journalist, but sometimes there is overlap. Just, I do think also on the flip side, having a big following does give you credibility as well. Like when you see someone has a big following and they're a reporter, you kind of are more likely to trust them as well.
do you think that can sometimes be perhaps unsafe to tie someone's credibility solely with the amount of followers that they have?
Oh, 100%. Yeah. Yeah. Because sometimes people gain followers in a not good way. Sometimes they gain followers by luck, and there might be somebody on the other side of the city that works really, really hard at their craft, but just doesn't have that same luck or just doesn't like their niche isn't content. It's more so just working for whatever like news or whatever you work for. So, yeah, 100%. Not just in journalism, but in general, I think having a big following can doesn't always go with being able to be trusted. But I do think sometimes it does
Mm.
in the sense of there's a reason why people follow them.
Mm,
Sometimes it might be, oh, like appearance reasons or something funny, but sometimes it really is people trust this person and that's why they follow.
yeah. And you talked about this earlier, Grace. You talked about people. And you used the example of talking about you going to therapy on one day in one of your vlog videos. People like to feel like they're understood and like they can be related to. And when someone posts something that's perhaps very engaging and it makes them seem very endearing, people relate to that because it makes them realize that, okay, this person is going through the same thing that I'm going through. So that person seems a bit more trustworthy, which is why those type of people, the people that post that type of content is very open and very expressive, those tend to be the people that get the most followers because people can connect and relate to them.
Yeah. I think that's one thing that I learned actually from therapy is just kind of learning to see that vulnerability is sometimes strength and not weakness, and just being able to say how you feel and not just like I used to always just want to be positive all the time and want to be like upbeat all the time, and that's not always healthy. So I think, yeah, being able to be vulnerable allows people to connect with you in a new way, and sometimes a deeper way than just showing the highlights of your life.
Exactly. And it's so interesting because the dynamic that you're in with, playing high level sports and playing basketball in England, in sports, you're almost taught to not do that, to not be expressive and to not show emotion. And then on the other hand, with your content creation as a reporter journalist, you're taught to kind of be more expressive so you can get more of the followers. So like I can only imagine the nuance of balancing that sort of,
Yeah,
expression.
it's hard. And sometimes I'm not perfect at it either. Sometimes I maybe don't have enough or don't show enough emotion, or sometimes maybe I get too emotional, or but I think in being emotional, sometimes it allows you to feel excitement and passion at that
Yeah,
like high level too. Like it's not just if you feel anxious or sad or whatever. It's also like I get so excited at small things.
yeah.
So, yeah.
But you have to though, Grace. And Dre and I talk about this all the time is that as you get older, you start to reflect and think to yourself, I wish I would have really appreciated those small moments more. And one way to really be present is, like you said, to appreciate the small things, the little things, but also to like be aware of your emotional state at all times and to say like, okay, man, like I saw these flowers on the ground the other day, but wow, like I really love them. Like it's okay to feel passion. It's okay to feel things, as a person. Like we don't have to be robots all the time, but that's just something I wish I would
Yeah,
do.
that's exactly how I am. Like I'll see something, oh, the sky, like like the sun's out today, especially here because it doesn't always come out. But yeah.
Absolutely, absolutely. Go ahead, Dre. I know you had a question you wanted to ask.
No, no, I was say no. I completely agree about the sun being out. That's like one of the. I remember that being the hardest thing, especially when we were in England. So that's absolutely funny.
Yes, yes. But yeah, Grace, how has that adjustment been for you?
Yeah.
So far, how's that been?
It's been good. Honestly, I think I've adjusted well. I've been saying that I think every step in my journey has kind of prepared me for the next one. So I think Chicago was really a good step to take before coming here, because number one, it's cold, probably colder than here, probably worse than here. So windy. I love the lake, windy, cold, dark, city, no car, far from home. It's really not that much different, besides the fact that it was only 1 hour time difference and it was still a country. So I didn't have to figure out my phone. I had to figure out my bank. I didn't have to figure out my address or my accommodation. I feel like there's a lot more also like, support and resources in the States for athletes than is here. So I
Mm,
think, you know, yeah, all those things were consistent, but then coming here, like I just had to figure out those other little things that kind of made me feel more adultish too. Probably good for my neck for when I actually go into my adult life one day. But yeah, just I think it's been good. Like I love being able to see new things and experience new things. There's all these little phrases that are just funny to me that English people say, or just things that I notice that are different, and just yeah, it's cool. Like it's cool to be able to see a place that you've only ever seen in the movies or in postcards.
yeah.
So it's safe to say that you've thoroughly enjoyed your time over in England now, and you're just like, hmm. Never, did you ever think that you would like be in another country or even just like specifically England or anywhere else like that?
I always told myself that I wanted to play overseas. But I didn't know exactly how it would look or if it would happen, because you don't really ever know the future. But yeah, no, like I couldn't have written it.
Mm.
It definitely wasn't me, but yeah, it's really cool.
Have you had a chance to see like any of the other, I guess, m monument things of England? Like kind of around and check out the almost said city. Oh my Lord. But the country as a whole.
Um, Not too much. I live in Nottingham, which is
Okay.
in the East Midlands. I've been to London 3 times, and I mean on the way, like I guess you see stuff, but it's really just the highway. We've traveled to like 1 or 2 places for basketball. We haven't had so many games yet. Our games are spread out so different. But my friend is actually coming in town for Christmas, I think, and I think we might go to Ireland, so I'm really excited for that, possibly. I really want to see. I think when my mom comes, maybe in the spring, we're gonna go to Amsterdam. I really want to go there. I want to go to Paris eventually. I want to go a lot of places, but like I said, I'm trying to figure out, or not figure out. I'm trying to just make sure I have all my things, like I have exams and stuff coming up, and just that I'm taking care of what I need to take care of before I'm just off to all these different countries or places.
Yeah.
That's right. That's right. Um, Grace, I do have one question, kind of shifting back towards your platform as a journalist, reporter, content creator. What do you want your platform to be recognized as? What do you want people to get out of your platform as a journalist and content creator?
I think I want people to just feel encouraged, feel inspired, feel hopeful, maybe feel excited or feel interested. Really depends what video that you're talking about, but I think overall just feel a little bit better in their lives. Like I want them to just mostly feel encouraged. I kind of have also told myself that I kind of want to be like a motivational speaker or something like that one day. So I might shift more into that eventually, but yeah, just I mean, my videos are all different. Like I really love being able to interview people as well, like after their games or before their games or things like that. So like you might get a completely different takeaway from that than you might like a day in the life video or like an art video or something like that. But yeah, I hope that answered your question. Okay.
Because you also have an art page as well, right? A page dedicated to your art.
Yeah, I do. Yeah.
Okay, talk to us a little bit about that.
So I've had little side hustles along the way in college, and sometimes I've been commissioned to do art, or I had like a small stationery gig where I was hand drawing stationery and selling it to people, like cards and stuff. But for the most part, art is like something that I think I started. Like I think I was an artist before I was an athlete. I've always loved art since I was a kid. And so it kind of is just like, I don't want to say my other pages aren't fun, but it's like my fun page, like no pressure, just post when I want, post what I want when I want. I started a recent series of like designing people's tattoos because I designed my teammate's tattoo. And so I have a couple people that there's like a girl from back home that wants me to design a new logo for her like organization or not organization, it's like fundraiser almost or like a donation drive. But I also have a couple people I need to design tattoos for. So, but it's kind of just like a no pressure. Yes, maybe like one day I would do it into a business, but I just enjoy it more just doing it on my own time for now. Yeah, I love it. Painting, drawing mostly. I love ceramics, but I haven't had the resources to do that in a while. So,
So you would consider yourself to be an artist, a creator in the most purest sense of the word. Do you find any similarities, Grace, between an artist and an athlete?
mhm. I think all athletes are artists at heart. And I think athletes are innately creative. And I also think that whenever I'm tapped in with my art, like I used to do art before games, that I usually play better than being like super analytic about like you know what I mean? Like types of homework or things or really analyzing the scout or things like that. Like I think when you're in a flow state in art, like when I'm doing art, I feel like time just passes, and I think that's the same feeling that people get when they're in a flow state playing basketball or playing sports. So, yeah.
Okay, okay. Yeah, because that's something that Dre and I have talked about ad nauseum on this show, how I don't call myself an athlete, but an artist. And I noticed that for me, at least my experience, sometimes when I tell, musicians or writers or painters, that I consider myself an artist, they say back to me, no, 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 you're an athlete. I'm an artist. So, I know it depends who I'm talking to that they accept the standard of artists being athletes. So I noticed it depends very much on who you're speaking to, but I do consider athletes artists as well. Yeah. But
Yeah. I actually think everyone in some way is creative and just haven't tapped into it or found out. But sorry, you were like lagging, so I hope I didn't cut you off.
no, no,
But
no, you're fine. You're fine.
um yeah, I think athletes for sure 100% are creative and are artists in their own way.
Yeah. So Grace, if there was one piece of advice or one thing you could say to the younger version of yourself from 10 years ago, what would you tell her?
I would just say keep going, have faith, don't worry. Just I think honestly, while I've grown so much, I also kind of haven't changed a lot, like in my certain values and how I approach life, but just to keep going and just have faith that it's going to work out. If I was talking to like my really younger self, I'd be like, Grace, you're playing basketball. I used to hate basketball as a kid. Seriously, I played soccer. I thought basketball was so boring, but yeah.
Wow. Wow. That's crazy to hear, but yeah.
Very, very. But wow, Grace, it's been such a pleasure having you on the show, man. Thank you just so much for taking your time out of your busy schedule to speak with us and to share your story and your journey and just your perspective on life. Something we like to do is we like to give shout outs before we close out our show. So before we wrap up, Grace, are there any shout outs that you want to give to anyone before we close up?
Um, I would just shout out my family. Like I said, my brother who's growing his page, as well. Like I know he's nearing some big milestones. So his page is Grant Beyer. Um, my friend, welcome to Shan. I just visited her this weekend, so it's like fresh on my mind. Um, Really just all the balcony people that I mentioned, my parents, my siblings, my amazing teammates, my friends, former teammates, friends back in the States, new friends I've met here, just all the people that have just been so supportive and so loving. Also, huge shout out to God. Like I said, I just don't think that I would be anything without God. So, yeah. Also, you guys, thanks for having me.
Pleasure, Grace. My pleasure. Dre, any shout outs?
Yeah. Shout out, I always say the same people. My guy Lord in the Stitch, man. If you want amazing clothes or you want anything built basically from scratch and kind of thrifted, he is your guy and he will 100% do that for you. Um, you know, Shout out to the fans of people who are watching. We really appreciate it. And shout out to you, Kashan. Shout out to Grace. Thank you so much. Seriously, you were amazing, and this was a wonderful story that we feel like 100% should have been told.
Thank
And
you.
we thank you so much for that.
Absolutely.
Thank you.
Absolutely. Like Dre said, Dre, shout out to you, brother. I wouldn't want to do the show with anyone else but you, man. I love you, brother. Shout out to the fans because you guys continue to tap into our content, tap into our shows day in and day out. So we're really grateful and appreciative of that. And also, Grace, thank you to you. Wow, I mean, not to, put things on a hierarchy, but this is definitely going to be one of the best episodes, in my opinion, that we've ever done here at Sorry to Bother You. And it's only because of you,
Thank
Grace.
you.
Thank you for that. And
Look forward to it published.
yes, absolutely, absolutely. And all praise to the Most High. Listen, without the God is the only reason all of this is possible. So we're just so grateful for that. And yeah, I hope that He just continues to bless us and continue to allow us to do this for a long time. So we're just grateful for that. But thank you guys so much for tuning in. It's been a wonderful show, guys. You can find all of Grace's content we'll tag all of your pages, Grace, on our when we post it on Instagram so everyone can see the wonderful stuff that you're creating. But yeah, guys, we'll be back again sometime within the next couple of weeks, depending on our schedule, and then another podcast episode. But until then, continue to stay safe, be vigilant, make smart decisions. Until next time, guys. Peace.